Hello everyone, welcome to another video, and we're just going to quickly talk about the increase in the car payments and what we have to think about if we're considering purchasing a new car while at the same time trying to, proceed and navigate these tough times on our money journey. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump right in. So the key points: new car prices are up 12.6% from a year ago, and used car prices are up 16.1%. And of course, if you've looked to purchase a car recently, you know that used cars, the prices are just out of control. As a matter of fact, over the last, I'd say probably couple of years, people have been able to actually make money getting out of leases, for example, or selling their cars a year later for more than what they paid. So market's definitely heated up, and of course the prices are then increasing. So I'm just going to go ahead and scan through and touch on the key points in the article. So it says here, the monthly cost to finance a vehicle purchase has hit record highs. Consumers face monthly payments averaging $656 for a new car financed at 5.1% over 70.5 months. This is very important. Of course, it's stating the obvious if you are looking to purchase a car or you look at, commercials or whatever, but this right here is significant. Not only is the price on a nominal basis, so forgetting about inflation, forgetting about just overall cost of goods and services, this is $650. 5.1 is a relatively inexpensive, loan rate, I suppose, the loan rate. If you go through a credit union, you probably could knock off 1% or 2%. But right here is what's concerning. A new car payment of $650, but for a duration of 70.5 months. So I know 60 months is 5 years. So we're looking at 6 years of a $650 car payment for a vehicle. And I think this is where some people can really get in trouble. All right, so then moving on to the used car market, it's actually not much better. It's the same thing. We're looking at $550 with the average rate of 8.2. Of course, it's a little bit higher because it's a used vehicle, but the length of 70.8 months. Again, this is concerning. And I remember when this was a few years ago, when the first commercials started coming out with a 72-month loan, right up from the 60. And as it has become the norm, we really have to consider what that long-term effect is going to be. And I'll keep going and I'll revisit that later. So we have the Federal Reserve, again, the 0.75% increase, which is going to increase the borrowing costs on all types of loans. And some of the reasons we have, right, not enough supply. If you swing by any of your car dealerships, you'll see that they're pretty much empty. And if you want to purchase a new car, a lot of times you have to go ahead and, have it built to spec and then shipped over, and it could take a couple of months. All right, now looking over here at the average monthly payment, and this is, right, similar to this chart here, at least in some relation. But what I want to point out is that the same way that this chart went from being, up and then it crashed and then up, and then now it's, having a pullback or correction, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the same thing eventually is going to happen in the car market. And this is not a prediction. I don't have a crystal ball. This is just the cycle of what happens, right? The car market's just that. It's just a market. And things can't continue to go up forever, especially at inflated rates. And just to point out quickly, if we look here, we're going to go to January of 2014, and we saw that the car market was $476 was the average new car payment. When we jump to that same period in 2016, we see that it was approximately $503, right? So that is a difference of about, we'll say it's a difference of about $27, something like that, in that time period. Okay, so that is, in a matter of 2 years, the difference again of $20-something. Let me just double check. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, now let's go ahead and jump here though and see what that increase looks like. Because back here, a $27 increase, that's roughly a 5% increase or 2.5% per year increase. And that actually sounds about right. It sounds like what the inflation rate was. All right, now we jump over here. Similarly, I'm going to jump to, keep it consistent, January of 2020. And this was before the real effects of the pandemic, if you will. average payment was $576 or $67. And then when I jump to January of 2022, the payment is $652. So right there, we are looking at, I should have calculated this before, but just with my rough paper napkin math, I want to say we're looking at probably 18% in that 2-year period. Okay, and that is obviously outpacing both wage growth and even the inflation pegged at about 8, or the core inflation or whatever, pegged at about 8 point something percent. So with this, that's a huge increase. That's a huge, for people purchasing vehicles here, that's a huge increase, and it's almost become a tax or burden on people, to be honest, to carry that much debt for that long. We move on to the used car market, and here's where it gets interesting, because you'll notice the same kind of a thing. You'll notice these incremental moves, right? So the average used car payment from 2012 all the way to 2016, you see, is about $375, right? This is pretty flat. Now, when we jump here, we see from June of 2020 at $405 to June or of May of 2022, we're at $556. So this is like a 30% increase in the cost of a used car payment that's being financed. All right, so why is all of this important? Well, we are now taking on larger car payments for a longer period of time, and to make matters worse, because it's something that we cannot really navigate from or avoid. Try to jump over here. Here's an estimated monthly car payment chart. It's forcing us to go out of or it's forcing some to go out of their means in order to purchase a vehicle, just because the cost of the vehicle is so expensive. And it's very similar to the housing market, right? If you need a vehicle, whether new or used, you're being forced to pay more for a similar product. And I think what makes cars or automobiles especially painful is the fact that they are depreciating assets. Prior to the last, say, 2 years, there was never an expectation that vehicles would increase in value unless they were antiques or cars like Corvettes, for example, that you keep, low mileage. All right. So anyways, using this chart, you can get an idea. If your pre-tax income is $50,000 on an annual basis, then it's showing your estimated monthly payment should not exceed $416, right? And this would not include the insurance and gas prices, which we know are also at highs. So obviously having a car, maintaining a car, driving a car has reached really crazy levels. As a matter of fact, I have a Nissan Altima and I put 16 gallons yesterday and it came to $78, which was the highest I've ever seen filling up a car actually in my life. So when you add that, somebody maybe that needs to do that weekly, you're looking at $300 in fuel plus insurance. So, cost of an automobile may be $800 a month. And again, it's depreciating, and short of taking you places, it doesn't really have much value for the amount of cost that's put on you. All right, so nothing like having a problem without a solution. So going to come back to the CNBC article, and we see here that they give 3 tips. One's knowing your trade-in value, and that's especially important. Since the market is inflated now, you will be able to get an inflated amount or a high amount for your vehicle. So taking it to a dealership probably isn't the best thing without researching it first. You really want to research the value, make sure you're getting a high value. So if you have to purchase a high cost vehicle, you'll at least, be ahead in that regard. Know your pre-approved interest rate. Again, if you do not belong to a credit union, they have almost every credit union has some type of a program for teachers. So you may want to look there to save a few percentage points, right? Every percent counts in this market right now that we're in. And then knowing your overall budget. So remembering that you have to account for taxes, fees, fuel, maintenance, and repairs. And you can kind of let these tips guide your decision making. I know these are tough times. I created a video that I'll link here on purchasing a car and how you can use maybe some of the internet sources like Craigslist if you're needing to go that route. Just because that's really, for some people, the only way that you'll be able to navigate it and get the best deal, because money is hard to come by, budgets are tight, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better anytime soon. So as always, I hope you got a lot from this video, and I thank you for your time. This is Dr. Diffins signing off. Bye-bye.
Make a better me, better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is